This conference will now be recorded.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm not that sick, but I'm a little sick, so I'm trying to do it this way so I don't get anyone else sick. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the January meetings?
Megan.
Discussion? Everyone can hear me okay? Okay.
They're online as well.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Hey, Nicole. Would you like to come up and give us a report? Tell us anything you want to tell us?
I didn't give a report.
Yes, I did.
No, you asked if I would mind coming to the meeting.
Well, what did I say? I said, say anything you want to say. I meant report. Do you have anything you'd like to say? I don't need to put you on the spot. We can do this next month. It's not urgent.
Well, I've been extremely busy in January and February. In the middle of the move, I still have payroll adjustments to do, new hires, W-2s, 1099s, budget reports, quarterly reports. The list goes on and on and on. I'm trying to get all that done. I did go to the New York City OT training as well. And now I have to work on the AFR.
Thank you. Thanks. Do any board members have any questions?
Thank you.
I think that was a good report. And anything you want us to know at all, or?
We're still getting final numbers. I mean, we're allowed to put 2025 expenses still into 25 at this point. So that's why I don't have firm numbers as to what left.
I understand. Yep, I understand.
Did we get the final dead tax check?
We did.
Okay. Okay. And we can talk reserves after we know the final numbers, is that?
Yes. You know, I don't know specifically what you're trying to earmark or what you're trying to do.
The email that I sent about the water, I wanted to set up a reserve for water infrastructure because we have that coming down the line, as well as put excess bed tax dollars into the official beautification fund. And also set money aside for the truck funds, park truck, highway truck, and rather than just keeping them in there. So that's it. And I know we have to possibly get approval from the state because we are in there's a certain number of acres of our town that's in the APA. So
Right, if you want to make them true reserves, then yes. What we've been doing in the past is these are just earmarked accounts for the specific purposes, which in the training that I attended in the city, they don't really suggest doing these actual reserves because you are then forced, you can only spend that money on that specific project and you need permission to spend it.
right, but that's the purpose of them, right?
I understand, I'm just saying it makes it a lot harder. I mean, we've been doing this earmark system all along and it's worked well, but it's completely up to the board how you want to proceed.
Okey-doke. Thank you.
Okay, Christina, thanks for coming.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Christina. I'm the director of the Lake-Based Visitor Bureau. And I've been trying to get here and I've had 6 kids. We've had mono, we've had sports, so I haven't been able to come. So Tim had emailed me and I was like, yeah, I can come today, finally. I just wanted to come introduce myself if you guys have any questions. I think we have everything open right now for all the events coming. 2 Fly is open, the uphill bike and run race. What else? Music Fest, the announcement is coming today for who is in the Music Fest, the entertainers. What other ones are there? I think, and the town dinner. So if anybody has any more nominations, drop them off, because we're gonna be discussing that next Tuesday at the board meeting. And we'll pick somebody next Tuesday. And then the town dinner is the 24th of March. So tickets are on for that. Anybody have questions for me?
Thank you.
Any members of the public have questions?
When is the town dinner?
March 24th.
And where?
At New Vita,
How much are the tickets?
$40.
Okay,
40?
thank you.
And you're doing enough.
Thanks, Charlie.
Okay. Chelsea, thanks for coming. Do you have anything to share with us?
Well, after I spoke to you and you gave me the paperwork for, the new program for the summer, I do have, I've started filling out the paperwork, but there is a lot missing. You need to have a camp safety plan. I have copies, from when I was the director for the one in Osceola Forks and when I did, the one at the high school. There's a lot to it. I'm gonna need, like, to fill out the checklist for the facility, I'm gonna need to go into the facility and look at it. I can't even put down what you want for the name of the program. Is it Wilmington Youth Center? Is it Wilmington Summer Program? I'm not sure what to put there, so I left it blank for now, and that's one of the reasons I came up, because I do have a lot of questions about the paperwork right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
So.
Well, I think we'll go over that either after this meeting tonight or some other day soon.
Sure,
The
I
next-
can say.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
On the agenda, I have, the next item is, discussion or reports from the Association of Towns Conference. Darren, would you like to share anything from the conference?
Overall, good conference. I was a little bit disappointed in some of the classes. I felt like there wasn't quite as much diversity as some years, but overall, the classes still taught you some. I did bring that back to you, Laura, because I know that was one of the things, and then just another book if we want to make copies of them or share them between ourselves or whatever. I think Nicole's brought back a few other
All
ones.
those are from January. I have the older one, so
Yep.
that's great. Thank you.
I was able to make contact with a couple different people down there. One being just if we ever need another land use attorney. He's from the Rochester area. He does it all over. He attended some of the classes on land use, and we were telling him some of the things that's going on, and he handed me his card if we ever needed help from another attorney that specializes in that. The biggest part of this conference, and I think you have expressed this before, is just the networking that you can do through both the vendor booths and talking to people is probably the biggest asset that you can by far get out of that conference. So overall, I found that it was good. And I'll be sharing some of the information that I got from references and things in the future.
Thank you. Every time I've gone to this conference, I find that maybe my favorite session is I think it was 4 attorneys this time from the Association of Towns sit in a large room and everyone from every town can ask these attorneys whatever they like. And I've gotten a lot out of that in previous years. I did ask, we would like to put some restrictions, time, place, manner on cannabis sales. And they said, don't even bother. Yes, the law says that you can do that. However, towns that have placed what they consider reasonable restrictions on time, place, and manner are getting struck down by the Cannabis Control Board, the town's ordinances, I guess, regulating time, place, and manner. And it'll all be decided in court eventually. So they said it's a mess, and the idea was that the towns could restrict time, place, and manner of these sales, but that's not how it's working out. So that was informative, and that saved us from wasting weeks discussing this or months discussing this, because they said, just hold on, and this will be decided by a court somewhere what we can do. I did attend, I think, 2 classes about grants, basically, or 2 classes where a big focus was grants, and they definitely stressed, one of my big takeaways was the things you want in your community, put them in your comprehensive plan. Make them, highlight them in your comprehensive plan, emphasize them in your comprehensive plan, and then in your grant request, link that to your comprehensive plan. Say, as identified in our comprehensive plan, we want this money because this is part of our comprehensive plan. One memorable quote was, the things that you apply for grants, make sure that they have like overwhelming community support, like 90% support. Make sure that if it's not a unanimous town board vote in support of the resolution to apply for the grant, don't even bother. The memorable quote was, the governor has enough controversies of her own. She doesn't need to buy your controversies. They want to fund things that have overwhelming buy-in, 80%, 90%. Those are some of my big takeaways. I did as well. I got a chance to get some good business cards that I think will be helpful. But I don't think it's really worth going into that right now. Yeah, it was good, as it always is, and I guess those are my biggest takeaways that I can think of at the moment. Go ahead.
I was just going to add something else. I went to one class on small towns and the housing crisis, and their takeaway on that's one of the things that's created the housing crisis is just the generalized cost of construction, and newer and younger people trying to get into houses today, they're not able to afford to build a house. So that's where all of the rentals have been taking up, because everybody that can no longer afford to build a house is now taking a rental, where 30 and 40 years ago, being able to obtain a house was much easier than it is today, when the average price of a house today is nearing $400,000. Young couples just aren't able to swing that type of thing. So their suggestion was to do similar to what we're doing and try to, open up the housing market to smaller homes and do things to try to drive down the cost of construction, because that's what has one of the driving factors of the housing crisis right now is, the housing market and $400,000 plus, and young people just can't afford that.
They did recommend at the Q&A session with the attorneys adopting a resolution declaring certain parts of the town hall non-public areas, which is something we've discussed and probably something we will want to think about doing. Does anyone have any questions at all about the conference or? Okay. Hannah, report and discussion of the Comprehensive Plan Committee.
we had a really good meeting this past Friday. Wally Walters from the town of Jay was able to join us. They are in the midst of going through the process of updating their comprehensive plan, and he was able to share a lot of great information with us. I think we have some next steps a little bit that are outlined, and we'd really like to get more community engagement. So if anyone is interested, even if you're not interested in being on the committee, if you're interested in coming to the meetings and sharing your expertise, opinions, all of it, that would be really great. We don't have the next meeting date set yet, but if you're interested in being included in that, just make sure that I have your email and we'll get you on the emails and just ensure you're included in the information. I would like to revisit with the board one of the points we talked about at the last meeting regarding the steering committee for the comprehensive plan. Is that okay to do right now?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
One of my suggestions for the steering committee is not currently registered to vote in Wilmington. I did check a little bit, and that's not actually even a requirement to sit on the town board. So I would like to revisit that and again suggest Bill Wonderland for the steering committee. I think he has a lot of great experience and skills and would bring a lot to the committee itself and to the process. And I also don't think that we want to be excluding a certain segment of the residents here in Wilmington just necessarily based on their voting status.
Do you want to make a motion to appoint him to the steering committee?
Sure, I will do that.
I'll second that.
All right, discussion? Any discussion?
I've already gave my thoughts and feel that any type of steering committee or committee board, anything that is making decisions for this town, you should be a more or less full-time resident and a voting member. I mean, isn't this the exact reason that we no longer appointed Chip Grundon to the zoning board, because he was no longer a full-time resident of Wilmington, even though that he was a voting member of Wilmington, and we no longer have him on our zoning and planning board. So now we're appointing members to another board that don't vote or live full-time in Wilmington.
Residency is the requirement for the planning and zoning boards.
And I also just want to add, this is just an advisory committee. They can't make any decisions. They're just making suggestions to us to make decisions.
And we had discussed that anybody is welcome to do that, but you would think that we would want full-time. I know she's not here tonight, but I know Michelle Preston has been on multiple of those meetings. She did the waterfront revitalization plan and was interested in being a part of that committee, and she was not selected to be a member of the steering committee. So I still have my reservations about putting somebody that doesn't live here full time on it.
Thank you. And I have one more as well. And this, I don't know if we need to make a motion on it right now. I'll leave that up to your expertise, but I would also like to suggest Sam Hazelton for the steering committee as well, contingent upon his accepting that. He is interested in it. He just wants to make sure he has the time, the ability to commit to it. So I'm happy to make that motion now contingent upon him actually accepting it, or wait, whatever makes the most sense.
Probably wait, I would think.
Sure. Any discussion on that?
He's a full-time resident and he votes here, so.
Questions about the comprehensive plan?
I don't have a question so much as Bill Wonderland brings to the committee a lot of experience that nobody else in town has. And that's really valuable. He also has the patience to stick with it, which is remarkable. So, I mean, I understand your hesitation and I would be equally hesitant, but I think that the, what he brings to the table is a lot.
And Chip was never, or I should say not never, but he was often not at the planning board meetings. He couldn't be there like half the year, which would make it sense that he would not really be a good member of the planning board. For that reason.
Bill, please.
But does Bill Wonderland bring the same ideas that a full-time resident would be here, that lives here full-time?
It's not that he brings expertise, it's his ideas, it's that he's worked on other towns where, they're comprehensive plans, so he knows what it takes. It's about, one of the things that happened with Wally's meeting, what was spectacular, is hearing all the stuff that he went through. That if you don't know, you're clueless, and then you're spending a lot of time just going in circles, that he would be able to cut through. And actually, it was even mentioned, perhaps somebody ought to try to hire Wally for helping us out with our plan, because really he comes with so much knowledge, and Bill has that. So I think we should take advantage of what we can. I mean, if
You
you
can still
didn't,
be on the board though, just not a steering person.
And
He's
I,
got a one-way agenda.
I don't think he has a one-way agenda.
Well, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Right, well, what would that agenda be? I don't even, I
Right,
normally.
taking the lead here for a second, Tim.
Yes.
I totally understand what you're saying, Carol. However, you had mentioned Wally Walders. Okay, he's not a member of Wilmington, but he's from the area. He's worked on Jay's. He's familiar,
And he's totally invested. He's great. He's
but I
really
understand
good.
Bill Wonderland's from Michigan or wherever he's from. He doesn't bring any information from the area to it. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have all information, but he's not invested in this area like somebody that's lived here full time.
Well, I've been impressed with how invested he is.
I have been impressed too sometimes.
That he shows up, that he cares. You know, I don't want to totally disregard him, and I think it's not like he's the only person, it's not like he's the leader or the only person on the committee. It's that he brings a strong voice of experience that none of us have.
Experience not from the area.
I think Bill brings,
You have no idea what the comprehensive plan is like, so much not about the area.
and I mean, I've seen Bill in our meetings have incredibly insightful comments on things. He does his research. He definitely has Wilmington's best interest at heart. And I feel very strongly about that. This is coming from the committee's request.
Mm-hmm.
This is from the.
Pat, would you like to speak about this? You're the,
I think
The comprehensive plan is about gathering information. He knows how to gather the information and compile it.
Yes, the surveys, the whole thing,
Yeah,
getting people
the
involved.
questions are the same no matter where you're from. And he
So he wouldn't do this if he wasn't a steering member and just a member of the committee? I'm confused.
his feelings are very hurt by, he feels like he's being designated as a second-class citizen because he's an outsider.
He's not a citizen of Wilmington. That's the thing. He's a second homeowner, and most of the time,
He is a
this
state
board has been
resident.
said second homeowners don't have the same rights. It's been said over and over that people on this board said second homeowners don't have the same rights as full-time residents, and we've done that with even the vacation rentals.
But when you are.
that is
100%.
absolutely not at all,
Completely different.
ever.
Second
It's the
homeowner.
same thing. They
No,
say,
no.
if you're a
No,
full-time
no,
resident, you can do this. If
No.
you're a second
No,
time,
no,
there's been,
no.
there
No.
hasn't been discussion
No.
about putting taxes on second homeowners?
I have not, that.
I mean,
the-
Dawn, please.
Would he be happy with being an advisor? That still gives him a title, if that's what I don't know that that's what he's looking for, but it sounds kind of almost like he is when he wants to be steering committee head.
He needs to
But
like
if
he's
you-
doing it for the wrong reasons.
No, he doesn't want a title, he just,
But-
he doesn't.
Okay, so we're going to depart from the free-for-all, and if you want to speak, please raise your hand, and otherwise, the board should be speaking right now. Thank you. CO, please.
I just wonder who this Mr. Walters is from Jay. I never heard of him.
He's the chair of their comprehensive plan special
Is he,
board.
a local, like you're talking about?
I don't know.
Actually, well, this is what
Pat-
I'm
Pat
wondering.
might know.
How many-
He did say that he's been here 10 years.
Who's the other guy? That's all I want.
Carol?
Pat, of course, he's been here for 10 years, it's that, he's not from the area, but he took an interest and he's invested, and he goes the distance, and that's what we need for the comprehensive plan. It's a lot of times, it's not like that we do, if you guys were going for the short program, that would be another thing. But you guys are going for the 3-year haul? No, I think that you want to go with somebody who knows what they're dealing with.
Okay.
One of the things, I just want to add, guys, one of the things that Wally and other folks that I've talked to who have gone through this process really emphasize is that it's very helpful to have people who are familiar with policymaking and with the process of doing something like updating the comprehensive plan. And Bill has that. And I think we have a good balance of people who are long-term locals in Wilmington on the committee right now. And, you know, Bill brings the familiarity with actually going through these processes and navigating the bureaucracy of it. And that's the thought process behind it.
Bill?
But he doesn't live here. He doesn't make a living here. He comes here on vacations for 2 months out of the year and then leaves and goes back to Michigan. I work for the guy. I know how much he's here. And he's gone more than he is here. So how does he know what I want, or what Cliff or anybody else that's a full-time resident who has raised their family here, tried to make a living here? How does he know what the locals want?
I think that's where the rest of the folks, rarely Pat, myself, everyone else on that, you know, that's what we bring.
Laura, please.
I make a motion, we table this and take it into executive session.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. This should be decided without discussion. Roll call vote.
What are we voting on?
To table it.
Okay, I don't have my list. Yeah, you first.
Yes.
Yeah,
No. I think it should be discussed in public.
Ron Hooker,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
it's carried. Table.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to just reopen this conversation. This particular issue is tabled, but I'd just like to make a couple of points about the comprehensive plan, and then if other board members want to say anything, they can as well. So I'll make that motion to reopen this topic.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I would like to let everyone know that the meeting, the last comprehensive plan meeting with where Wally attended, is up on YouTube. I listened to it and watched it. Very informative. I think if you're interested in this topic, I think it would be beneficial to listen to it or watch it. One thing that Wally emphasized is that the people on the comprehensive plan committee are not the deciders. Ultimately, it's the town board that's who are the deciders. You know, the comprehensive plan committee, it's more suggestions, just like the comprehensive plan itself is. The people who adopt, the people who have legal authority are the members of the town board. So, you know, I don't have I guess I'll leave it at that. It's a kind of a thorny topic, and I guess we'll move on to something we can all agree on, which is electricity costs, unless any other board member have anything they'd like to say.
Assessors would report that.
Correct, thank you. Okay, can I have a motion on the assessor's salaries?
Make it.
Is there a second?
Okay.
All in favor, or no, sorry, discussion. So we've been down at least one assessor for, at this point, 2 years, more or less. And the town could do more and will do more to advertise the fact that we need another assessor. But what we have been doing obviously is insufficient. So hopefully, if we raise their salary, that will help to motivate someone to step up to take this position. I don't think that, we'll see. We'll do both things. We'll advertise it more and we'll raise the salary. And if we can't get anyone, then in 3 months, we'll talk about raising the salary again and see if we can get anyone then. The other reason to raise the salary is that it recognizes that the people doing this job, in one case, was doing it on his own for, I'd say, approximately a year. I'm not sure. It was more than 2 or 3 months, and now there's 2 people doing what has been 3 people's responsibility. So I think it's definitely fair to give them a little extra money due to the very different workload than what would normally be expected. So we had said we were talking about 1,000. I was thinking about it, and 1,000, that's not even $100 a month. So how about 1,250? Then at least it's $100 a month. How does everyone else feel about that? Anyone else have anything they'd like to say?
Could we make the assessors available like 1 day a month or something so people could actually talk to them in real time instead of online or on a phone or, I mean, there's a lot of people that are not online. And maybe a lot of the older people, such as myself, I would rather talk to somebody in person than leave a message on the phone and they get back to you, maybe. I mean, I think a few hours on a Saturday or whatever might be worthwhile for people. And if there aren't people that were interested in that, then cut the hours back or do away with it, but at least give them a chance.
I think that's a good idea. And I believe they'll be willing to do that. I think Devin is usually here on Saturdays, so that might work well for him. And I'm not sure what Jessica's schedule is. Ideally, it would be a day that Jessica usually has off if she always has the same day off a week. But I will definitely ask him. And I think it's a reasonable thing to expect or to ask.
Thank you.
No problem. Obviously, I can't guarantee it, but
Well,
yeah.
if you don't ask, you won't know, I guess.
He does put in a good amount of time here. I definitely know that, and she does as well. Okay, so if no one else has anything they'd like to say,
Can we clarify?
yes,
Okay, the lead assessor you want for $1,250?
yes,
Are you doing the same amount for the other ones?
yes.
Call vote then?
Yeah, I'd just say for the public, I'm not under the illusion that by increasing it this amount is going to solve this issue, but it's a step, hopefully it's a step towards solving the issue. Nicole, please.
I need clarification. So
Yes.
The 1250 is an annual, like.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
It's effective immediately,
I would think so. Yeah.
so she knows.
Yep.
I need that for the resolution too.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole.
Roll call vote then?
Yes.
Hannah?
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Tim?
Yes.
Darren?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
you want to talk about this, gaming thing so that we don't forget to talk about it?
Okay, all you need to do is announce that they're doing a raffle in Jay, the fire department. And when they do something like that, they have to send notices out to all the towns, which we sign and then send back to the gaming, and then they send it on to the town. It's just a way the state keeps track of what they're making.
So we have to announce it, and
You just announce it just like I just did.
therefore
That's it.
it's been announced.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Unless it's something controversial, and then you would do a resolution. But something like this that is just boilerplate, they're doing another raffle. Fawcett does them all the time too. You just do it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. The next thing on the agenda is electricity costs. You know, we'll do what we can. We're gonna try, but I think everyone in these seats around the state are trying and are aware that this is an issue. I don't think that, I don't think this is unique to Wilmington. So, but we will try, and, you know, there's the idea that towns banding together can, obviously, that's a stronger voice than one town. So this resolution, this model resolution, came from a town called Cincinnatus, and they're urging other towns to pass the same resolution. Just discussing, you know, strongly expressing that this is an issue, and urging the state to take action. And go ahead, Laura.
We have to make the motion.
Correct. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Do the members of the public have a copy of this? Is that available for everyone? It is.
10 copies of all the resolutions on it.
Thanks. If anyone would like to see it, it's on the desk over there. So.
Copies of all the resolutions for today right there in the corner.
So the first couple paragraphs are, whereas residents, seniors, and small businesses in the town of Wilmington are experiencing unsustainable, repeated, and compounding increases in electric bills that are placing a growing financial strain on households and the local economy, and whereas a substantial portion of these increases is attributable not to increased energy consumption, but to escalating delivery charges, fees, and approved rate adjustments imposed by NYSEG, and whereas electric delivery charges and rate structures are regulated and approved by the New York State Public Service Commission, which is statutorily charged with ensuring that utility rates are just, reasonable, and affordable for ratepayers. And it just goes on. I mean, I can read the whole thing if people would like to, if people would like me to, or we can. I'm sure everyone on the board is familiar with it, so I don't think. Yes, if anyone is interested, it's over there for you to read.
There's also the petition in that.
Okay, thank you. Laura, would you like to discuss the petition?
So I went on the New York State website. I think it's the Department of Commissions, and there is a petition that municipalities can sign, and the town board members, elected officials, can sign protesting the rate increases. It's essentially filing a petition for them to look into it. I don't know if anything can be done about it, but it's a step towards trying to make change. So that is on the back table. It will be on Dawn's desk, and there's 2 copies, or there's many pages of it. So the more signatures that we get from townspeople that are petitioning the rate hikes, and it is based upon the utility provider. So this one is specific to NYSEG, which is our electricity provider, but you know, you can do it for any utility provider. So this one is there. There's more information as well as the reason for the petition on that paperwork. And then we'll take that and move forward with that. I also reached out to Dan Steck about, because he is asking for affordable energy now. He's doing his own petition. So he is trying to get sponsored legislation out. He replied back and said he absolutely agrees and will continue to advocate for common sense solutions to the issue. He also has sponsored legislation that would require full and transparent study of the cost of any of these programs. The ratepayers and the taxpayers deserve to know, and that's from Dan Steck on the 23rd of February. So you may have seen he has a petition that was mailed out to people. It's also on his own website. And then the one that I told him the one that I provided for our townspeople, which is from the Public Service Commission, and gave him the file. But either way, you know, and I think you said you're going to meet with NICEAG.
Yes, on Friday, yep.
So we're trying our best.
Randy, you found some really good information. Would you like to share that with everyone?
Yeah.
Or share maybe, okay, go ahead, thanks.
I don't know if I have it with me, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have some numbers. Gail said she tried to work her way through the program, but it didn't really seem to help.
They wouldn't accept any of the tax reports, you know, the tax bills that we have. Or any, they just wouldn't accept anything.
Right. Well, for anybody that would like to try it's Energy Affordability Program, and the phone number is 800-572-1111. That's if you get HEAP or SNAP or Medicaid or Veterans Disability or SSI. And then there's another program that's Enhanced Energy Affordability. And the number for that is 877-400-2501. And that's for households with incomes for one person is 69,477. Two people is 90,854. Three people is 112,232. And four people is 133,609. Can't guarantee it would help people, but if
It's a resource.
it's definitely worth a try. I mean, 'cause a lot of people's light bills are unreal.
Randy, can we make a copy of that for me? So that I have
Sure.
to put in the minutes and put on my desk.
Were anyone else's electricity bills shocking, their most recent ones? Yeah, mine was shocking.
Double.
Yeah, triple. And it was already high. Yep. It was shocking.
But we Tom was on the phone for a long time talking to them individually, and finally toward the end of it, I guess he found out that there was, paper that he could fill out. And at that point, they weren't accepting any of the information that we had.
No.
And it's like, okay.
Sometimes they make it hard. Yeah, for sure.
You were on the phone with HEAP, probably?
The phone number that Randy gave us.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Well, we can try to help you navigate it. We can try to help you navigate it.
I think Tom gave up on it.
Right. Right, I could give it another shot.
Did we move this motion or did I miss it?
We did not.
Okay, so can we do that?
Yes.
Somebody make the motion for this.
I'll make it.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Since we're technically in discussion at this point. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Local law 1, 2026. I think Laura can back me up on this. I think she's had similar experience where this is sufficiently complex that it seems like every person, every lawyer, every official you talk to gives you a slightly different answer than the last person you spoke with.
Yeah.
So the person I've been speaking with at the county told me that we could issue a negative secret declaration today and officially adopt this law. I wasn't planning on officially adopting the law, but I was planning on issuing the negative declaration. I called her office, or I went to her office yesterday, and she's on vacation. Talked to her coworker today. Her coworker said, we can't issue the negative secret declaration until March 16th or adopt the local law until March 16th. Because there's a 30-day county window during which the county can review our local law. And, you know, that window is triggered by the date that their office sent this letter on our behalf to the county, other county organizations. So according to the person I spoke with today, we have to wait for all of this until March 16th. I did speak with Mark Schechner, and you know, we talked at the last meeting about decreasing the retail square footage size, and you know, there's definitely been suggestion possibly that we should think about increasing the size of the buffer. Schechner said, and then the question was, well, if we were to do that, would that be a material change of the type that would force us to repeat the process? Schechner said no. Schechner said if we were to go to, for example, 6,000 square feet, that would not be a material change. He said there's no hard and fast rule, but in his experience, what his guidance was, when you get to say like doubling the number or cutting the number in half, that's what would be considered a material change. Changing it by, I guess, like a quarter is not, in his judgment or his experience, what a court would consider a material change. He said, you know, if you're changing this based on what you've heard in the public hearing, you should be changing it based on what you, that's the whole point of having a public hearing. And if every time you change something like this, you had to have another public hearing and reset the process and meet with the county and have one county office send itself a letter and wait a 30-day window, none of these amendments would ever, none of these types of laws would ever get passed. It would just be an infinite circle of if any rather small change reset the process. So with all that said, now we're in the point, I guess, where we can discuss whether we would like to decrease the retail maximum square footage or increase the vegetative buffer for retail developments. Is there any, I'd like to listen to any other board member.
The number, what's the amount of square footage then?
I asked if 7,000 or 6,000 would be considered a material change that would require us to repeat the process, and he said no.
Can't remember what Carl had said. I think he said 5 or 6.
Carl said 5, but I didn't ask about 5.
Okay,
So
6 sounds fine with me.
I feel like you've done all the paperwork. I don't know why we go back and switch everything now for another change. I mean, a 6,000 square foot structure, despite what has been said, is not that big. I mean, I'm sure Cliff can verify this. There's houses in town that's been built that's 6,000 square feet. 6,000 square feet is not that big of a structure. I mean, I just feel like we're really limiting Wilmington to the possibility of any retail growth when we start taking it down into that, and nothing is going to want to open. I mean, we had a gentleman in here at the last meeting that has bought Steinhoff's and wants to revamp it, and he was concerned about 8,000, and now we're taking it down to 6,000. Is that going to impede his plans to revamp a dilapidated structure.
Carl's on the computer. I don't know if you want to touch on it.
No, that limit is not going to prevent opportunities that are agreeable to the community. The entire focus of this initiative, if you will, was to give us legal standing to prevent the incursion of stores that we do not want in town, namely dollar stores. That's all it's about. 6,000 feet should do the job.
I had the thought, after we discussed this last time, that in the past, say, 15 years, the problem in Wilmington has not been that our zoning boards were applying the code too strictly. It's been that they were applying the codes too liberally. So if we were to tighten up the code, I think in our experience, these boards, if there was a worthy project, they'd certainly be willing to be lenient. I mean, we've seen them be extremely lenient. I have not, I think I've seen them turn down one thing. And they've certainly approved things that there was a lot of opposition to. So to me, if we tighten it up, the risk is not that they'll be too strict and turn down worthy things based on the experience of the past 15 years. But
it's not a matter of turning down things. It's if you have a business come in and go for 8,000, and then all of a sudden our planning or zoning board says, you know what, we really don't like this, you know, and we want to have it a little smaller. We have the ability to go down smaller. But if we're starting at 6 anyway, it's like, what business are we really going to attract when we're starting at 6? Because there's no spot to go down at that point. I mean, 6,000 square foot is not that big of a building.
boy, you guys are a bunch of real chatterboxes.
Well, permission to enter, to join?
Carl wants permission to talk.
Sure.
Well, it's actually very large. If you look at what the buildings are in town with the chart that I measured back when we first started this conversation, that's a pretty good interior square footage. Now, once again, you have to keep in mind that we have zoning boards of appeals and we have variance procedures, and that is what allows larger events to happen if they are compatible with the community. What you are allowing or giving the town with restricting it to this size is a legally defensible means to prevent something that we do not want. That's about it. And if I'm still speaking, as far as trees and the buffer zone goes, can we get the town, the planning board to simply require trees that are planted for what do you call it, the buffer zone to be at least 12, 15 feet high, so it starts out being big enough to actually buffer the sight line instead of waiting 20 years for it? That's what I think about that, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Carl. I suppose at this point, I would suggest that we should go to 40 feet for the buffer. I'm not passionate or adamant about that. That's just my sense. Boy, I can barely get a word in edgewise. Someone should make a motion on a size of the square footage. And then if there's a second, we'll vote on it.
So
Go ahead.
A little supermarket is 4,200. That's a pretty good sized store. I mean,
That's without the back storage room, that's just retail space.
That's also without his office upstairs, everything else. So you add all of that stuff in and it counts as one building. I guess my suggestion, or we need clarification. Are we talking about 6,000 square feet of just retail space or 6,000 feet of building? Because it's very two different things. For example, little supermarket.
It is the interior space, the space that's used for,
Retail trade.
yes,
Okay, we should probably add that. to
It is,
that
it says
it is.
an individual retail trade use shall
So
not
again, my
exceed-
question on a building like little supermarket, it fits 8,000 square feet now. Once you add the other things in, is that all considered part of that business?
The retail, where they do the retail.
It's a retail business.
Right.
I don't know if it necessarily means just where you have merchandise that's for sale. It's still considered a retail business. That all counts as a retail space.
Office space, storage space.
That's part of the business.
I don't believe that that's how it's interpreted.
I wouldn't say either. I mean, it is where the retail trade is being done. Like, that is where they're selling the goods, like.
Need to be clarified.
Yeah, I don't. A retail business to me, if you're coming in with a retail business of, and you're gonna build a building of 8,000 square feet, it's an 8,000 square feet building. That is the business. Like, you're not separating office space out. Like, that's part of the business. I mean, so if somebody built a 20,000 square foot building and said that, well, this part of it is, there's only 2,000 foot of it that's retail space, or 6,000, and the other spot is our office, that would be allowed? That doesn't make any sense.
Does any member of the board have the text of the law? I would think that would be probably helpful at this point. I believe it says floor space.
Again, how is that defined?
Floor space, those could be stock rooms,
This-
offices.
I did not make this up.
No,
This
I
is
know
from
that,
another
but
town.
I'm just saying, if somebody else did, it doesn't make it right. If we can get it, clarify it more.
It makes it something that's been approved. They probably took it from a different town. It's probably, if it was faulty, it wouldn't have made it to Wilmington. It's been reviewed by, at this point, I mean, Mark
Tim,
Shepherd
I
reviewed
don't
it.
think we're arguing about the fact that it's legitimate. We're asking a clarification of what's considered. Is it 6,000 square feet of just where you can sell stuff? So you guys said that the storage units will now count as retail.
That's not what we said. That's what the planning board said.
Regardless of the fact, like, the whole building is then counted. But yet, then you go to another building, well, only parts of the building count? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's either the whole building, or, like, who's gonna make the determination of, all right, part of the building's counted, part of the building's not counted?
So what the actual text of the law says, and thank you, Laura, it's very helpful. So extremely helpful. An individual retail trade use shall not exceed 8,000 square feet of floor area, whether in one building or more than one building. I think it's clear that it is the floor area of the retail trade, where retail trade is being done on the floor. Not in the locker rooms, not the parking lot, not the, yeah, right, not the horse stable. I think it's the floor area of the store.
Again, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. If you had a building come in and they built 6,000 square feet of retail and 6,000 foot of storage, and the whole idea of it is limiting the size of the building, like, we're kind of not.
Okay, Cliff, please.
I think what Darren's trying to say, and I may be wrong, but, so if it's 6,000 square foot of retail space, what if I need 6,000 foot of storage space for backstops? And I
That
have
wouldn't count.
12,000 square foot building.
That wouldn't count.
But if you're saying retail floor space, that's where I'm doing my business, is in retail floor space.
That's right.
So I
So,
would interpret, I could build a 12,000 square.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but here we are trying to limit the size of a building so they're not monstrosities.
Your flat rate, I mean, your flat square footage is what makes the most sense.
Correct, that's what I'm trying to get at.
So again, as I've said previous times, this is not going to heal, this is not going to apply to every conceivable situation under the sun that ever exists in the history of the world. This is something that has been used by other towns and has, I think, yeah, there's a million different what ifs. But at this point, we've been talking about it for 4 years, and I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever to restart the process and have to change the language, have to have the attorney review it again, give it to the county, have the county pass it to each other from office to office for a month or 45 days or however long, and then be sitting here in May having the same arguments. So while this probably isn't perfect, it's definitely been reviewed by at least 2 attorneys, one of whom was, Mark Scheckner. It's not like he's my college roommate. He was, I think he works for the town of Lake Placid or North Elba, and he was who Favor Smith chose. And he had no issue with any of this. And yes, there are situations, as Pat said, that's very well put. If there was a 12,000 square foot building where they wanted to put 13,000 foot storage or 13,000 foot warehouse in the back, but only 5,000 of retail, that's where the planning board, hopefully at some point, will be a little more proactive and act like they have some authority. We're trying to give them authority. Dawn, please.
In my opinion, if you close all the loopholes, and don't take this wrong, Tim, you know my feelings on lawyers.
Yep.
They put loopholes in so they stay in business. If you cover all those loopholes and close them to start with, you don't end up with a lawsuit. I'm just saying.
Okay, Laura. Thank you. Thank you, Dawn.
This is more of a say than we have had ever. It is giving us at least something to work for, like towards, giving us some say as far as the retail space at the minimum. And then we can we have no language in our code right now besides what the planning and zoning board can try to say that they would wish to do. But we have language in here saying that at the minimum or at the maximum, not to exceed whatever square footage that we say, they would have to, that's what we're restricting. So, I think it's a little bit of a protection for us from the big box stores if they came into the area. And considering we have nothing in writing as far as square foot restrictions at the moment.
Maybe do this and then immediately following, start working on getting rid of the loopholes that are going to cost us money down the road.
What about existing businesses that are in operation right now?
It wouldn't apply to them.
Okay, that was my question. I mean, as long as they can, if they want to add on right now, they can still add on, right? I mean, with permits and all the other
setbacks
stuff.
If they wanted to go above whatever number we set, if their addition puts them above that, they would probably need a variance. And I think we've seen that our boards are willing to grant variances.
Well, I think you really would have to. I mean, with existing businesses, especially with the owners, if they're current owners and they want to expand their business or expand their building a little bit or whatever. I mean,
yeah, I think I agree with you. And I think certainly the intent of this is not to limit or, put our thumb on mom and pop shops. The intent is to allow our planning boards to say no to big box stores. So if there's an existing business that wants to expand, I truly believe that our land use boards would be willing to work with them and make it happen. Whether they needed a use permit or a variance or whatever they needed. So, again, would someone like to make a motion with a number?
I'll make a motion for 6,000 square feet. Second.
Okay, is there anything anyone would like to say?
I'll go along with the 6,000 square feet, but I want it, or I'd like it to be emphasis on retail space only.
Okay. Trade floor space essentially, right? Where the business is being done?
Correct. Storage, offices, things like that don't count.
To me, the plain reading, an individual retail trade use shall not exceed 8,000 square feet of floor area. So to me, that.
It doesn't say retail floor area.
Okay.
It says floor area, period.
We're adding the word retail in there? Or
I'm
you're just gonna
sure-
rewrite the whole thing down?
I'm definitely not rewriting the whole thing. I think
need to know what to do for the note.
I'm going to ask Mark. I believe he'll say that that is completely fine. That's not a material change if we can insert the word retail before floor. Retail floor area. And I would be very surprised if he thinks that that's a big enough change. I mean, it's not a change. It's just clarifying. So. I wouldn't even think it would necessarily be necessary to ask him, but I'm sure I will ask him nonetheless. Is there anyone who would like to say anything else?
Thank
So
you.
basically, it's for new businesses coming into town, really. I mean, it's not for existing businesses that are here.
No, it wouldn't apply whatsoever to an existing business unless they wanted to expand over that number.
So what about Steinhoff's? Seeing how it has been a business in this town for God only knows how many years, but so what if the new guy wants to do something about the same size or whatever? Is that going to be allowable, or is that not going to be allowable? Or
He would be limited to 6,000 square feet, or he could go to the zoning board and ask for a variance. And that would be up to the zoning board at that point, too. And the standards through which they evaluate those variance applications, they're not that strict. There's a lot of leeway there to approve these variance applications in this type of situation. If he was trying to open a restaurant in an area of town that wasn't zoned for a restaurant, that's a much heavier lift. But to get a variance for a size is, there's a lot of discretion for the board, basically. They certainly can say yes and have that be legally valid, and they can also say no and have that be legally valid.
Carl has his hand up.
Okay, Carl?
Well, I just want to say thank you. It's been a long time coming. And
well, we're not there yet. Bill?
Well, you're almost there. 6,000 feet's close enough for now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, just quickly, so I clarify. So let's take the dude goes over to Steinhoff's and he wants to do something and it's over 6,000 square feet. He goes to the zoning board and the zoning board denies him. What is his recourse after that? Nothing?
Lawsuit. He would have to take the standards through which a size limit is there's like a rubric that they would use to evaluate the application. And if it was not tenable or not rational or not justified using this rubric, he would have a case. Or if they did something wrong procedurally, he would have a case. They have to, if they're going to turn something down, they have to make sure that they're crossing their I's, dotting their T's, following all the rules to the letter. Otherwise, there definitely is a chance that their decision would not be upheld.
Well, it would be at 6,000 square feet. So ultimately, they could dictate whether he could do anything or not, and he wouldn't have any choice. Here's a guy that's going to take a building such as that and potentially
Well,
Just so I understand
yes,
how it works.
he would be limited to 6,000 square feet. That's also true, right, of floor space. So if he wanted to have another 10,000 square feet of whatever else he's doing that's not the showroom, he could do that. It's just the floor, the showroom, the shop, where people are buying things, that is limited to 6,000. The entirety of the building is not limited to 6,000. It's a good point, Carol, thank you. Seal?
You're talking just retail.
Yes.
It's covered under retail. I mean,
Too much. Too much.
everything, I mean, the storage unit.
That's right. Our
If
code-
I'm gonna buy anything, I mean, I don't know.
I wasn't there when the code was written, or I was not privy to those conversations, but, what we consider retail is buying and selling, right? Goods.
But
Right.
not like a restaurant or anything, I mean, they can come in and build.
Our code defines retail as goods and services, which to me does not make a lot of sense. And that is definitely something that is, I believe, should be looked at, and I would delete the word services. It should be goods. And that's how they got around, that's how they were able to define the storage units as retail. They said, well, that's a service. So it's a retail use. It's not a retail use under most people's, that's right. That's right. Yep.
Well, that to me is a cloud. Doesn't really, it's a store, that's all.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Pat?
Is the buffers, is that under a different resolution?
Yes.
No.
No.
So are we gonna add the 40 feet?
That's our next
Yeah.
question.
We're going to discuss it. Randy?
So seeing how Steinhaus is a building that exists right now, say somebody, the guy bought it or whatever, and say he wants to do a different kind of business in that same footprint of that building, after he tears that building down. Why could he not do that? Seeing how this, an existing building right now,
And have that all be the showroom, the whole footprint?
well, I don't know, but I'm just saying, if the building's already there, or a building is there, and they've paid to tear it down and everything, and they want to build another building of whatever, the same size,
Typically,
how
the
could
way,
they not do that?
typically the way that's done in that is the building doesn't get completely demolished at that point. They do one section at a time and rebuild it just like it's standing and treat it as a remodel rather than a new build.
Thank you, Darren. Pat?
I was just gonna say, Saranac Lake, they have special, regulations for cleaning up messy buildings. You know? It's a lot easier on them to get the permit, because they're doing a service for the town, cleaning up things that really should be demolished.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, you raise an excellent point as far as the number, as far as the buffer. Would anyone like to make a resolution?
I'd like to make a couple of comments on it.
Okay.
And I've said it before. We keep talking about a natural vegetative screening buffer. Steinhoff's, I'm just going to use it because Randy keeps talking about it. There's zero buffer there.
Mhm.
It's all blacktop.
Mhm.
What's the buffer? Is the buffer just a setback?
Yes.
So it's not a natural screened buffer, it's a setback. Like, that's what I want defined. Like, what are we gonna do? Ask them to tear blacktop up in that area and plant trees in now? Like, we need to have this defined on what we want for vegetative
I know.
screening / setback or a buffer. They're three different things.
Is that like a parking lot? Is that different? That's not.
That's what I'm saying, but if we're asking for a buffer, and right now it's all blacktop, how are they gonna leave a natural vegetative buffer when there's none there?
They're not going to.
Well, so how do we do that?
Darren, it's in the language of the law. Utilize existing vegetation and topographical features, the first couple of words. Utilize existing vegetation and topographical features, preserve existing vegetation where possible, and employ careful siting methods so as to minimize the visual impact of all commercial development activities. At least 30 feet of natural vegetation shall be left in its natural or improved state adjoining any public street or highway or any adjoining property not in the same ownership. The planning board and the zoning board of appeals may, in their discretion, require additional measures to provide suitable screening, such as additional setbacks, planting, and fencing. So where there is no vegetation, they were not going to require Steinhoff's to tear up the parking lot. Basically, this wouldn't really apply to Steinhoff's because it's already an existing building.
So basically what we're doing is we're opening us up for a lawsuit because we're saying what's good for one business is not good for all businesses.
No, Darren, what we're doing,
like, please tell me how one business has to have a buffer, but the next one, because they bought a lot with no trees, doesn't have to have a buffer.
The planning board would ask them to put in screening.
But
It says
we don't.
It says it right in what he just read. He just said those words.
You just told me it wouldn't count as Steinhoff's. They wouldn't have to put it in screening.
It's not existing, but the planning board can ask for them to put in screening.
It's like talking to a wall.
right, again, yeah, this is not going to solve every problem in the history of the world. This will be helpful for some of the problems that the town has experienced and will experience in the future. One of the great benefits of this is, as you've said, Darren, you said this many times, our current code does give the planning board the authority to require screening and setbacks and additional setbacks. But you want to talk about vague, and you want to talk about inviting a lawsuit, and you want to talk about different standards. I mean, there are members of the planning board that aren't even aware that language exists. So a big point of this is to say, planning board, you can do this. Like, you're allowed to do this. It's okay. And no one's going to slap your hand. The town is saying, this is within your discretion. You have the authority to do this. And that's, in some ways, that is the biggest point of this.
Tim,
yes.
I'm going to use KOA as another one. There was no trees that were cut down on the roadside. There was buildings that were took down. Like, the planning board could have asked for a natural vegetation barrier there. I'm actually trying to help here and make it more restrictive, but you guys aren't even listening. You're just sitting there and saying, well, this is the way it is. If there's no trees, there doesn't have to be trees. Like, I'm literally sitting there and giving you examples. There's no trees in front of KOA because buildings were torn down. Now we're saying, well, there was no trees there, so they don't have to put a buffer in. Like, the whole point of what I'm saying is, if we're asking for a buffer, ask for a buffer.
Okay, it's the third part of this amendment, of the fourth local amendment. The Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals may, in their discretion, require additional measures to provide suitable screening, such as additional setbacks, planting, and fencing. So, as you've said, that is buried within our code currently. And if the planning board wants to be adventurous and bold, they can draw it out and talk about it and maybe in some century use it. This is to say, hey, let's use it this year. You're allowed to use this. This exists. This is, yes, so the things that you're talking about, the things that you say you want, this is emphasizing that our boards can do that. Pat.
I just want to defend the KOA because when we saw the pictures, they had all kinds, they had buildings up there and everything. There was a lot of stuff that would have screened it. And then it changed. They kept taking things away.
Bill?
The key word being there, they at their discretion,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't have to then, the planning board or the zoning board?
No,
There has to be 40 feet at the minimum. at
There
least
doesn't
40
have
feet.
to be, according to this. If it's not there, it doesn't have to exist. It's at
Okay.
their discretion.
I feel that, at this point, this conversation, maybe long ago, stopped being productive. So I'm going to make a motion that we go forward with 40 feet and 6,000 square feet. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, or discussion? Go ahead, if anyone has any last comments. All in favor?
I would like a roll call vote on this, please.
Okay,
Okay, Hannah,
Yes.
Tim,
yes.
Karen,
No.
Laura,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry for letting that go on for so long. I think we should probably skip ahead to employee handbook unless anyone really wants to discuss agenda item 8. Hearing no cry of support for getting into agenda item 8, let's get into agenda item 9.
So this is for discussion. We're not resolving anything. The town board has been provided with the new edits as discussed at the meetings and back and forth emails that I have had with Nicole and Louie about some language changing regarding some of the policies that we have in place at the for the town employees. And anything that has been changed, besides I do want to state on chapter 7, I did not highlight it, but I did change some grammatical errors. I left all of the text the same in chapter 7, which has been included in your handbook now, but everything else that I edited has been highlighted in yellow. So just for your reference.
Thank you.
And, question.
I haven't had a chance to go through this.
You don't need,
yet.
this is
No, I just want
providing
to
it.
ask if there's anything you would like us particularly to look at.
I would just look at the highlighted stuff. And it's not
But
a,
nothing in particular, things
Nope.
that have been changed.
the addendums are mostly new. The yellow ones are either significantly different or the newest version of them. And then the code of ethics policy is one that we adopted last year, I want to say, which has already been approved by the town. And that was in January of 2025. Otherwise, 2 of them came from the county level. Maybe three of them came from the county level. And then they've all been vetted from other areas. And then any other, and you don't have to answer, you don't have to talk about it now, but it's just for your review, as promised.
Thank you for doing this, Laura.
Yep.
Very please.
So my biggest changes that I see, there was a few other ones in here, but I was trying to look at it on the computer. I'll mark this up now since I have a paper copy. Are the health insurance, for the eligibility, it says all elected employees, but excluding town board members on or after January 1st of 2026. So we're now not gonna give the 50% coverage to town board members, but we're still gonna do it to judges and assessors and all other part-time elected officials.
Mhm.
So why would we just exclude the town board but give it to everybody else? And then on top of that, because now they're eligible still under this, the way you have it, now we're gonna, if they don't take it, we're now gonna offer them a $2,500 buyout, which has never been offered before.
Can you point me to the section that you're in?
402, 4.02.
So we're the only town in the area and only town that I can find that has any offerings of, for town board members to have health insurance. The requirements of a town board member is 2 meetings at the minimum. The required, and it's not even required, but that they're required to do is open to whatever that they would like to do. It is a significant financial burden on the taxpayers to fund the health insurance benefits of town board members. And I think that considering, and we're only offering, and part-time elected officials working greater than or equal to 20 hours a week, that would be part-time elected. Nicole, can you clarify with me? Did we say assessors and judges?
It's not listed here, so I would have.
I don't remember that being discussed.
Right, I think it was just somebody who is working 20 hours a week. That's what it says in that category. And taking office after January 1st at 50% coverage for a single plan.
Can you point me to that? Because where
It's category E, it's right underneath the town board members elected.
Yeah, but here it says eligibility, all elected employees excluding town board members. It doesn't say about part-time, it says all.
Okay, I can edit that. Fine. I
So
will edit
what
that.
does that mean? So now we're not doing assessors and judges? So it's full-time elected employees only.
Part-time elected officials working greater than or equal to 20 hours a week taking office after January 1st, 2026 may be provided health insurance and pay 50% of a single plan coverage. That's what it says. I can change the text of the eligibility, no problem.
But again, it says part-time employees or elected officials.
I will change. Where are you saying this?
Okay, category B.
Category B is existing prior to this. This is a new category. So category A applies to the people after that period. Category B is after 1992. Category C is after 1997. And then this category E and D is after 97. And then category E is after January 1st.
So I guess I'm confused. If a judge says I work 20 hours a week, then he can get it?
If they don't work 20 hours a week. And the assessors are not
But
working.
they could say they do, like if they kept track and say, well, I'm putting in 20 hours a week.
This is more for like the Dawn situation where that she is.
So wouldn't it be
Yeah.
easier just to say full-time elected officials only and not do it for
She's
any?
not full-time, she's part-time.
I'm not drawing that anyway.
I know that, neither are the assessors or the judge.
But they could,
They
so,
could. We could have all taken the buyout for the insurance. We didn't.
but that's what I'm asking. So now can they get a buyout?
Only if they're entitled to town health insurance. And that would be the Dawn situation, which is what we discussed at the meeting. Only part-time people, and we put in the hourly requirement for the week. This is not
Before
for
the buyout didn't go for any elected official, okay?
Correct.
Back when I was sitting where you guys are.
Mhm.
Any elected official could opt to pay 50% of their insurance, and the town paid the rest. It was like a benefit thing, and it does get people to go to the board.
But we don't need people to go to the board anymore, and we're putting that $5,000 towards health insurance from the taxpayers' money for very, very, very infrequent part-time work. At the minimum.
Very infrequent, depending on how much they're doing. And like I said, this doesn't affect me at all, guys.
It doesn't
I
affect
don't
me
draw
either,
that.
but I'm just trying to
But
figure out if we're taking it
I'm
from
thinking
one
of
time.
people coming down the road, so that they don't do this again.
That's why we put the hourly requirement in.
But again, who's keeping track of the hours?
Well, if they're in the retirement system, they do keep track of the hours. There's a chart they have to fill out and give, an elected official needs to do. Am I right, Nicole?
Yeah, but not everybody's in the.
Not everybody does it. No, I'm not in it.
But an assessor, for example, could very easily say, we're putting 20 hours in, we're reviewing our files 4 hours,
Right?
3 nights a
I can see
week
where an
and-
assessor could put in 20 hours.
Right, and so could a judge.
Sometimes of the year they do. When our assessors were different, they met downstairs 2 to 3 times a week, and they had regular set hours. Plus what they did when they weren't there to talk to the people. You know, they have to go out and they have to look at sites. Maybe you should talk to the assessors and find out everything they do have to do. Because there is a lot of stuff. And seeing
I
them
don't-
upstairs, I'm realizing there's even more than what I realized they did before.
That's why we've been down an assessor for 2 years at this point, because
They do
the
a lot of-
requirements
they're very
don't
little.
match up to the pay.
Right.
The expectations don't match up to the pay. Steve?
So like your assessors, you're giving them a raise.
Yes.
So I can say I work 20 hours a week. I'm not taking the health insurance, but now I'm eligible for your buyout, so I'm gonna get another 2,500 on top of the $1,200 raise you just gave them. So they're actually getting, what, $4,000?
If they want to, well,
They're gonna play the system, you know they are. In town of Jay, if you're not a full-time employee, you get no buyout.
That's what
Part-time
it
employees.
seems like it should be full-time employees only. We shouldn't have
I don't object to that.
an
Fine with
option
me.
of a buyout for a part-time employee.
I agree. And I would get that. I'd qualify for that. And I agree that probably shouldn't be there.
Well, I guess we're all on the same page.
Great. So full-time employees only.
Harmony.
Love that.
So if you're trying to cut money, that's the way it's gonna do it.
Well, the thing is no one's ever taken this
One
buyout
person,
as far as
one person.
one person took it.
They are taking it, or they have been.
We've had people in the past that have done the buyout for the insurance.
Elected
If you look
officials?
at the older records.
Elected officials?
No, not the elected
Right.
officials.
That was kind of something that was buried in the text of the handbook that people weren't aware of. And so since people haven't been doing it and we don't think it's a great idea, I think we should just take it out.
And also delete part-time elected officials then for the opportunity to have health insurance.
I don't know. We want to offer it to the clerk. It's a complicated question because it's not as though, there have been a lot of people who want to be on the town board. It's a perk. And it's a motivation to get people to do these jobs that often don't pay anywhere near the amount of hours that people put in. There hasn't been a crying need for people to run for town board, but obviously there is a great need for assessors. You know, there have been, I guess you could say there's a need for judges. No one ran, and
I'll give you an example. We had a person that was elected as judge. Okay, when he found out that he and his wife weren't going to get insurance, he'd have to pay half of it, he resigned immediately. He never actually served. Okay, he took office, but he didn't serve. He resigned immediately. And that happened in the time I was sitting on the board. So it's something to think of, guys, because judge doesn't usually make you any friends.
then again, do we want someone who's a judge who's only doing it for the health insurance?
As long as they're doing everything else, they're getting paid for the health, but they'll go out and get another job where they have health insurance. It's all, I don't know.
I mean, it's 3 nights specifically for the judge. They're required, that person is required, whatever judge that we have, they're doing 3 nights a week.
But they're doing a lot more work.
I understand. That would not, in my mind, qualify for them to have, whatever, I mean, Jesus, you can't even imagine how much work that I'm putting in. And there's no perk. So like, this is not to say, I think that offering, I mean, the health insurance is incredibly expensive. If you add in the family plan, I mean, it's a huge cost. And
That's why I got cut to start with. It used to be that everybody got the health insurance and their spouses. And that was before they changed it, where they switched to elected officials had to pay 50% of it if
Right.
they wanted.
But now we do 50% and we pay the deductible. So there is even more costs associated with that plan. So it is costly. And if every person at this table took advantage of it, and the assessor and the judge, I mean, that is a huge cost to the taxpayers for very part-time work, or however much work that you want to put into it. So that's where this
That's
came
the
from.
thing, is how much work you put into it. A lot of people just slide by, others do a lot of extra.
So that's where this all came from, because
I was simply asking for clarifications that if we're taking it away from town board, are we still allowing it for all other part-time elected employees? It seems like the town board position is as important as an assessor position or whatever, but we're not allowing it for one, but we're allowing it for the other. So that's why I just thought we would need clarification on how it's categorized.
the county, none of the neighboring towns offers any insurances to any board members that I'm aware of. And I reached out to Jay, Keene, Saranac Lake, Lake Placid, and the county. That's not something that they offer. And
I don't disagree with you, but I don't think they do for the assessors or the judges either.
Right,
Well,
so,
that's what I'm saying.
Their assessors may be, they probably have, in fact, I'm all but certain they have full-time assessors where it's one person.
Right, and they're not usually probably elected, they're probably an appointed position.
That I don't know. But I know that I'm pretty well versed on which towns still have three, and I don't think any of those towns do. So you go.
so what would the board like that language to reflect? Category E.
I think it should be for full-time employees.
I agree.
What about the town clerk?
But we can list them in there.
Town clerk's gonna eventually become a bigger job. Like I've told you before, I don't want it full-time while I'm there, but it does take full-time plus hours.
You would almost think, I mean, really, as the town grows and everything, and more stuff, more paperwork, more whatever.
There is, and the state keeps
I'm
pushing more
sure.
and more of that stuff onto us.
I'm sure.
Where it
will-
says
You know, so
all elected officials, we could literally list supervisor, town clerk, highway superintendent. Because those are the three that are more or less the full-time positions.
But before I'm out of here, you will have to have a full-time person or two part-time people. And with benefits, it's better if you find full-time. Just because of the amount of work there is and everything else.
Every year, I'm sure it gets worse, or more, whichever way you want to say it.
Yeah. It's a little easier because everything's in the computer now.
Mhm.
And it's easier to track. You guys can see what's coming in, what's going out very easily, I think. Everything I do in the town clerk's office, I've done it so that it reflects what I would have liked to seen when I was sitting there. Stuff that would have helped me to make decisions. But it's not a 20 to 25 hour
Right.
job a week by any means.
Okay, so how about this? Just so we're not tying up everybody's time, how about you guys review? I know this has been handed to you in paper today, or I had it yesterday or the day before. Either way, how about you review the changes or anything that you would like me to edit? Email me or come back at the next board meeting with your suggestions, and then we can come to a consensus. And I'll have some edits available.
Just for that section or for the whole book?
Whatever you would like. I think the whole book, but do you have more that you want to talk about?
There was a couple extra
Go
things
ahead.
I'd like to do. Just clarification again, sections 4.11, licenses and certifications. This had been brought up a few years ago, and we started paying for all highway department driver's licenses.
Mhm.
In my opinion, paying for a driver's license is not the same as paying for example, Eddie's filtration license to run the water plant. So I just want clarification on what license and certifications that we're going to be paying for, because it says that are required by the town to do their job. So basically, to do the highway job, you need a CDL.
Mhm.
To do John's Parks job, he needs a driver's license. Are we paying for John's driver's license? Because he just needs a driver's license. It's a license, but the highway guys are a CDL driver's license. What classifies as a license that we're paying for that's required, and what classifies as a license to actually complete your job, like a filtration? Eddie couldn't do the job without a filtration license, period.
Okay, so the language that you're referring to existed, that I did not add.
I understand, but if we're redoing it, I just want clarification, so employees can't come to us and say, what does this mean?
Okay. I can't possibly list all of the required certifications. I guess I could. Sure, I'll put in all those certifications.
Well, I'm not asking to do that. I'm asking for discussion. What are we
We're
paying
not
for?
Saying excluding like a class B guy or something of that nature. That's what you're.
Basically, a license is a license, so which licenses are we paying for, which ones aren't?
It
call
says
pause
additional
for-
licenses and certifications raises associated with additional licenses and certifications. So that is, I believe that is by the department head's direction for them to continue in their position. But go ahead, Tim, I'm sorry.
No,
I
no,
was just gonna say, is there a way maybe to clarify and just say above and beyond a class, what's a regular class B? If it's above a class B,
Required for job performance.
then they would pay.
are there other examples other than driver's license of things that people would need just to be alive? The town could conceivably, under this, need to pay for?
Well, Eddie's, for example, and that's where it originally all started, because you need an actual separate license, not just an addendum to your driver's license or a different class. It's an actual complete separate license and training class that you have to go to get certified to be able to run the water plant. And that's where it originally started. Doug's training to be a certified building inspector. He had to get training to get certified to be an actual CEO.
Sure.
So that's where this originally came from, and then it got turned into driver's licenses as well. So I just want clarification.
I wasn't aware of
The
that.
driver's licenses after the CDLs went up so high.
Right, but we should have clarification in here.
Excluding driver's license, excluding basic driver's license.
Right. And that would kind of straighten it out.
So the additional language was because there are some people that do go above and beyond and get the additional certifications, and the department heads were saying that it can be, a reason to justify a raise or, give them a little bit of a bump or like an annual or whatever, just to cover that they went above and beyond what the basic requirements are for their position. But we could also say trainings as approved by the town board, trainings, licenses, and certifications as approved by the town board.
That you wouldn't have to change it.
Right.
Yeah, that would be good. You just have to make sure that you don't approve it for one and not approve it for somebody else. It has, you have to keep it consistent.
As approved by the town board and as required by their job.
As required by law. What cover it?
And then the last thing would be, well, I'd say the last thing that I saw earlier when I was going through it quickly was 604, and that's for the holding allowances. I just want to give the board some background on how the holding allowances used to be $250 a year. During COVID, maybe they were 300, but regardless, during COVID, that got raised to 600 because we had additional money that was being allotted to each of the towns to do for PPE gear and things like that. Roy decided to raise the clothing allowance. We all went along with it. And then we said, you know what? This is a good thing for the towns because a pair of boots are only $250. During that time, our account clerk was also given the $600 for the clothing allowance because of the COVID money and things. And Roy said, well, everybody else is getting it. Nicole, you shouldn't be left out because you need certain clothes and you have to be able to done in your job. So I don't want to do it as a raise. We're going to give you a clothing allowance too, because I feel like you're the only full-time employee for the town that does not get a clothing allowance. She's gotten the clothing allowance for the past 4 or 5 years due to this because she was the only full-time employee that wasn't getting it. Now we're taking that away from the account clerk. So I just want clarification that this was a benefit that she was entitled to. Now it's a benefit that's being taken away, or are we going to give this $600 that we agreed to give back? I don't know, Don, what can you help me out on this? Maybe 2021, somewhere around there. It was right after COVID or in that area. Because we said, you know what, all our full-time employees do a great job. We feel like they deserve a little bit extra, and this was a way to reward them rather than just doing a raise. But now
Because the town can't give bonuses.
Right,
Okay?
so we've took
We
this
can give clothing allowance.
away from one employee, but we're continuing it at all. So I'm just wanting to make sure that you're aware that we've took it away from one employee that has received it for the past 5 years.
Noted. Anything else?
Not at this time until I review it more.
Okay. Do the other board members think that we should do a special meeting just to talk about the handbook? It seems like this could be more than half of our next regular monthly meeting or do you want to wait until the next work session, or how do you want to approach this, Laura?
Work session.
Okay. We'll see how much we can get done at the next work session.
And email me your comments beforehand, and then we will avoid, I think it will make it a little more succinct. Please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again, Laura. Now we're on number 10, agenda item 10. Is there a motion on agenda item 10? Or may I have a motion on agenda item 10?
Make it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Okay, that's with the cost for.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dawn and I talked about this a couple hours ago, and Dawn wants struck from the contract the cost of photocopies.
You should be given a copy of anything he does for us.
And I agree that I have no issue with that, and I think that he will not object to it. So with that, thank you very much for reminding me. with that change in the contract, just striking the cost of photocopies. All in favor?
Aye. We have to roll call, don't we?
Yeah, we should.
Anna? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
All in favor, carried.
Okay, agenda item 11. May I have a motion on agenda item 11? Is there a second?
Make it. Second. Sorry. Trying to find it.
Discussion.
Please explain.
There are many grants. The first part or the second part?
I understand the grant writer part because we discussed that briefly, but I don't understand the second part of number 11.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, I think our park superintendent spoke extremely well to this at our regular monthly meeting in February of last year, which I went back and listened to. There's a large amount of deferred maintenance on town amenities, town structures, etc. As he said at the time, the Parks Department staff stays the same. The number of people stays the same. And actually, to some extent, it shrunk because they used to have like 20 prisoners who would come help out in the spring. And those workers or those prisoners no longer come to Wilmington. So while the park staff has either stayed the same or shrunk, the number of the expectations on the Parks Department increase every year, which results in our small Parks Department falling farther and farther behind on routine maintenance. So the busiest time of the year for them actually is not the summer. The busiest time is the spring. So, you know, he could use additional staff in the summer. He could really use additional staff in the spring.
I'm still confused because this says assistant to the administrator. What does this have to do with parks?
I thought you meant the second paragraph.
Well, the resolution discussion is grant writer, assistant to the administrator. I don't even see anything about
It's
a
not
parks
even-
employee here.
On the
the
agenda, it says that.
I'm
but
sorry.
The resolution says a different statement.
The resolution should be much more clear. The agenda, I believe I've sent out a more recent agenda than this, but I understand your confusion and I apologize, but the resolution should make everything clear, I hope.
In the resolution, you've got assist the town supervisor, assist with grants or assist period.
Assist, period.
So that would be your secretary confidential?
It depends who it is. It depends, you know, I don't even know if this person exists, who I'm somewhat, you know, I'm not holding my breath that a person to oversee the town's grant applications exists. We'll see if that person exists. If they do exist, how much do they want to work? If they do exist, what do they want to work on? But first of all, we have to find someone who exists. Would be a good, that's the first step. You know, it seems kind of unlikely that this person, you know, it's definitely possible this person exists. I'm hopeful this person exists. Do I guarantee that they exist? No.
Maybe advertise for the person for the grants, and then if they work out, then okay, think about assist or assistant.
Mhm.
Rather than make it in this resolution, which is.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that the primary responsibility and goal is to deal with grants. I think that is, of these, 100 words, I think maybe 3 or 4 of them relate to five, I guess, relate to things that don't have to do with grants. Okay, Cliff.
Me?
Yep.
So I just have a comment, I guess. Why are we not utilizing the staff in the basement that you should have a fire department to do stuff like this? A lot of grant writing now is a lot of fill in the blanks. Carissa, and I'll throw her name out there, she does a lot of this already for the fire department. You're already paying her. Why not take advantage of her skills?
To a large extent, this is not something that should be discussed in an open meeting. Please.
My first comment is I feel like these should be separate resolutions. I don't feel like the grant writer should be lumped in there with seasonal staff. I feel like we already have it in our organizational meeting that we can hire seasonal staff as needed to assist with projects. So I don't know why we want to do a separate resolution for it when we have already established that at the beginning of the year. And kind of to what Cliff is saying, I'm all in favor of hiring a grant writer if that's what we're hiring. But for an assistant to you, that's what we have Carissa for.
Understood. Okay, so roll call vote.
Well, wait a second, are we going to separate them or what are we doing?
I don't think it's necessary. Well, you're saying that the second part, the second paragraph, doesn't need to be passed.
No, because you already have it in your budget for seasonal help. And if you want to make seasonal start in the spring, that's your discretion. You don't need to do anything for that. You already have that power. Seasonal help can start whenever you consider it seasonal.
Nicole?
I'm sorry for my purposes.
No problem.
How are we paying these positions?
Okay. Using the unspent bed tax money, if, again, with the parks superintendent, or I'm sorry, with the parks spring employees. Again, I'm not guaranteeing these people exist. If they do exist, it would be helpful for the parks department.
So we're hiring, let me get.
This is just, the idea is to advertise. I'd like to get the town board, before I advertise for these positions, I thought that this should be discussed and approved.
Sorry,
But
I get the community enhancement funds for your seasonal help, but how are we funding the grant person and the assistant person?
grant person is bed tax.
That's not proper use of bed tax money.
It is. I talked to Michael Mascarenas, asked him if it was okay, and he said it's okay.
And the administrative assistant?
That one, again, if this person even exists, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm kind of 50-50 on whether any of these people exist. I hope that they exist.
And the parks is hiring additional to above and beyond what we have already budgeted?
We have seasonal in our budget, I think, Nicole, you included seasonal employees in our budget, right?
Correct.
Okay. I think he's just asking to advertise for seasonal.
If we need to put more in the Parks Department budget to pay if we can find someone who would do well at these positions, and we need to put more money into the Parks Department budget to do that, we should do that.
I don't know. I'm just really confused because a couple years ago, when we had an employee that worked for the fire department, John said that there wasn't just that type of work and he didn't need additional help. And now the workload is so great that we need additional help. So I don't know. It's like a complete 180. So I'm just confused at what's going on.
I know what you're saying, but I think that John's bucket list has, like, he's at a point, from what my understanding is, that there are things that they really could hammer out. And I think that hopefully that would be where this conversation generated from.
I'm constrained in what I can say in a public forum such as this. There's a little more, and that's all I'll say. So all that said, all in favor?
Well, it's gonna cost money, so let's do roll call.
Okay.
Anna?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Darren?
No.
This is for advertising for them. I just wanted to clarify for everyone.
That's right.
Okay, Laura?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Still carried.
Yeah, so that was kind of 14 to an extent. I just combined, on the most recent agenda, I combined 14 and 11. Well,
I have one thing, can I just quickly on that? Just so I understand, you're advertising for part-time summer help, you're advertising for a potential grant writer, and you're also advertising for assistant?
no, grant writer is the priority, not assistant.
Okay, so you're only advertising for one position, just a grant writer?
Correct, yes.
So are we
Yep.
taking
Well, I
the
would've-
assist,
I would have asked that, but
are we taking the assistant supervisor out of there?
No. No, but that's one job.
Okay.
If it's a job, if it's a job, if we can find, like I said, I'm kind of, I think it's not that likely that we'll be able to find someone, but it's possible. So I'm hopeful. I'd like to try. I definitely don't guarantee it. And then if this person does exist, do they want to work 10 hours a week or do they want to work 40 hours a week? Do they want to work 20? I don't know. I'm not even sure if this person exists.
But wouldn't that be our discretion how many hours they work? Not just, hey, do you want to work 40? We'll let you work 40. You want to work
The
10?
idea is to advertise for the position. Okay, I suppose unless the rest of the board feels differently, we can go to public comment at this point.
Okay, I did want to say is, when we were talking about health insurance, we do pay for our part-time, or for our, we pay for the, town board members.
I thought we did.
I'll have to check my emails. I know I definitely know it was Jay.
Well, I just checked with Cindy, who does our, she's our.
Saranac Lake and Lake Placid. I'll double check my emails.
Lake Placid doesn't anymore?
Yeah, and the county doesn't. Keep talking.
While I was sitting there, I was talking to Cindy, who is on Nicole, and she said, we do not pay them if they don't take it.
Right.
we have one of our elected officials.
Okay, if you'd like to say something, raise your hand. I'm calling you. Cliff.
So with this spring help that John's looking for, I understand that. He's super busy in the spring. There's a lot of raking. There's a lot to do around here. Why don't you utilize the other 5 town employees that are on the highway to help them in those times of need? They have a lull between snow plowing and cleaning the roads. That's when John is straight out. Somebody should be taking the charge and directing that to happen. It's money, we're already spending that money.
Your point's well taken. As you know, it's maybe not as straightforward as.
It could be.
Could it?
I think so. You guys are in charge.
Well, we can, okay, your point's taken.
I can make a comment on that for Cliff. Sidewalks are highway department's responsibility, so there's powers pulled back to the Parks Department from highway that they can do that as well.
I don't object to what Cliff's saying. The only thing I wonder is if, I don't know, I'll leave it at that. I don't object to what you're saying
You can
at all.
work around their schedule. If they got 2 hours one day, they go for 2 hours.
Yeah.
There's,
Maybe not be receptive to it.
Please.
this is not to do with employees. I had also mentioned a few years ago that there's pieces of equipment that we can get to assist John. That's a one-time purchase that will assist him for years, like truck loaders for the leaves and stuff in the cemeteries, rather than raking them on tarps and then trying to drag them in the woods. And, you know, we can purchase those pieces of equipment for, I don't know, say $5,000. And it's something that's going to save hours of raking and loading trailers and dragging tarps into the woods. You know, there's other ways besides always hiring employees and benefits that we can do to assist John into help in his job.
Your point's taken. Thank you. I don't disagree with that either. Laura, please.
I just want to clarify, because I am on the record here. So Matt Stanley said only full-time employees and only elected officials that fit the requirements, so the supervisor and the highway superintendent, are eligible for health insurance. Jordana, excuse me, from the town of Harrietstown, town board members are not able to utilize health insurance through the town. And then I have Adrienne Relier from Lake Placid that said for the town, they are not eligible as they are considered part-time employees. So I apologize. Keen, I did not hear back from, so I apologize on that. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Motion to adjourn.
No executive?
Oh, okay. Executive. This shall continue. Motion to go into executive session.
Make it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Yeah. Huh? We can still do that at the end. I have it on my notes here. Yep. Before we close up. Thank you.
It won't be on the.
What?
It won't, because I have. Otherwise, we have a big dead space.
I hope this isn't going to take very long.
That's why I asked what second and third, start being at the end.
It
So
is at
that
the end.
people
Oh,
can see the whole thing.
oh, okay.
And then no decisions made until the next meeting.
We're recording right now.
Yes, we are.
Yep.
So I'm asking what I'm doing, am I turning it off or am I letting it go?
Up to you. I'm fine either way. It doesn't bother me either way.
Okay, well, it's not our legal record, so I am turning it off. And anybody will be able to read it in the notes, what is done after the tape is quit. Great, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.